Okay, in this tutorial, we are going to create the object that the robot has to dodge. So here we go. I'm gonna draw something in Illustrator, and you use your talents and draw something far better than I'm going to. I am just simply making a square. Okay, you go ahead and create whatever you want, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this and go into Animate. And I'm going to make a new layer right above the robot layer. So I'll select the robot layer. I'm going to create a new layer. Remember, your button might be down here. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to have to relabel this again, I know. I'll just call it square. How about enemy? So whatever enemy you make, you put it here. And then I'm going to go edit paste. And paste in center is fine. And make sure you uncheck maintain layers if when that appears. And then so go ahead and hit OK. And there's my object. And if I take the free transform tool, I could enlarge it a little bit if I'd like. I'll just make it a little bit bigger, not much. Okay, and whoa, that's a little bit too much. Okay, so that's not big enough. How about that? Okay, it's a little funky moving this thing around right now for some reason. Okay, there you go. So now we're going to convert this to a symbol. And I'm going to go modify, convert to symbol, and we don't want it to be button. We want it to be movie clip. And I'm going to hit the registration point here because that's going to be the bottom edge of my object. So if I want to set it on the ground, I'm going to want to talk about the X and Y coordinate of the movie clip, and that's where the X and Y coordinate, the center point is. And so this is going to be called the enemy, and we're going to hit OK. Now, as you might already know, in the properties window, okay, if you don't have that, I'm going to go window properties just to get it open. And since this movie clip is selected, I have to give it an instance name so I could refer to it in the code. So I'm going to call it enemy 1. So it's a little different than the library name. Okay, so it's going to be, no, I changed my mind. I'm just going to call it enemy, okay? Let's just, hopefully that's keeping it simple. We're going to call it enemy. Hit enter. Okay, so there we have it. And I'm going to go ahead and drag it right to the edge of the ground. So there's my enemy, this block. Okay, now let's get into the code and make this thing move. Okay, so window actions. Okay, and it's going to be very much like Cloud Move. How about I just copy this right here and say copy. I'm going to come down, I'm going to make a new line. I'm going to edit paste. And so what, we've added an event listener, enter frame, and we need to change this. We're going to call this enemy move. Enemy move, okay? And how about we borrow this code here also? Well, yeah, we could simply copy this. And I'm going to make a couple lines here, or make a couple spaces, and I'm going to paste. Now, I have cloud move. I just got to change the word cloud to enemy. Okay, so we're borrowing cloud 1 is now going to be enemy. And if cloud 1's x is less than 0, well, if its enemy's x is less than 0, we're going to set the enemy's x off to the side of the screen, off the right side of the screen. But we don't want to affect its y coordinate yet. Okay, we're going to keep its y the same for now. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this temporarily. But I want to show you something. Well, first, let's see what happens here. So control test, and it should go off the left side of the screen, and it does. Let me minimize this so you can see it on your screen. So the object's going across, and there we go. Now let's just say, you know, this is just the same exact pattern over and over and over. We would just, you know, we would just hit space at the exact same time. So if we want to make the x coordinate, like say we want it to spawn a little further into the distance on the right, just to change it up for the player, we could do something here. And what we're going to do, I want to show you something first. And to create I really want you to see what this math.random does. Okay, so just for an example here, you don't have to do this. You could just watch my example, or you could do it yourself. Trace, it's going to spit something out in the output window. And we're going to see what value do we get when we do a random number. So when we say control test, you'll see the output window down here keeps spitting out a random number. Every time it gets to the right of the screen, it's just showing what random number Animate is producing. Okay, and it's going to be between 0 and 1. Okay, and I just wanted to show you that because we're going to use that in a minute to affect the Y. But for now, we will say, we're going to redo as X. We're going to say we at least want as X coordinate to get reset to the right edge of the screen. So that's 1280 pixels to the right. And then we're going to add a little bit more. We're going to say plus math.random. Oops. And so that gives between 1 and 0. And we're going to multiply that by, like we want a range between, say, 0 and, let's just say, 500 pixels. Okay? So, and you could adjust that to whatever you want. Okay? And I'm going to, watch this. You could comment out code temporarily by putting those forward slashes so that it won't execute that code. Okay? So here we go. And you could see that the, oops, sorry. You can see that sometimes the cube comes a little faster, sometimes it takes a little longer. Let me extend that number, make that number like 5,000, and let's see what it does. Control Enter on my keyboard, and now you can see it's a little different because occasionally it goes 5,000 pixels away. So it just kind of changed up the time a little bit. Okay, and so now we want to affect the Y coordinate because sometimes, you know, we want them to jump over this, and then sometimes we went, whoops, you jump, and then you hit it, and you shouldn't have jumped. Okay, so we want to make it either at the ground or a certain level, maybe up about this high. Okay, so let's do that. And so we can go back to this math random code, and I want to show you something else. So math random gives you a random number between 1 and 0. I'm sorry, yeah, 0 and 1. And now let's actually turn that into a round number. So it either rounds up to 1 or rounds down to 0. So math.round, and you put inside the parentheses, you actually you generate a random number right here, and then you round it. So it's either going to round up to 1 or down to 0. Let's just see what that outputs in our output window. Okay, let me get this out of the way here. And so you can see in the output window, sorry, get that out of the way. In the output window, it's either 0 or 1. Every time the block goes across the screen, it's outputting either a 1 or a 0. Okay? So now, that wasn't the best video editing there. But what we're going to do is when it gets to the edge of the screen and he gets reset, we are going to produce a round number, and we're going to say, going to get rid of this trace, and we're going to make a variable right here. Variable random, I'm going to call it a Boolean, because it's either 1 or 0, equals, and it's going to be that number. And then it's going to be a 0 or 1. And we're going to say if random Boolean equals, you put 2 equal sign. If it equals 0, and we're going to say enemies.y, his coordinate is going to be equal to the ground.y. And we're going to say alternatively, if random Boolean equals 1, then enemies, his y coordinate is going to be equal to ground minus, let's say, I don't know, the ground, how high do we want it? Because the y coordinate system goes is negative going up and positive going down. So we'll say negative, say 300 to put it away. I think that might be high enough. Let's see. Control test. Okay, and whoops, I think I got an error here. What's this say? Unrelated type number. Oh, I think because my variable here. Variable random Boolean. 36. Oh, enemy ground. Oh, I didn't put its y coordinate dot y. Okay. The ground isn't a number value, but its y coordinate is a number value. Here we go. Control test. Okay, there we go. And so let's see. Where is the thing? It's on the bottom. It's on the ground. And it's on the ground again. Jumping over it. And there it is up in the sky. Okay? So it's either going to be up in the sky or it's going to be, there it's on the sky. It's in the sky again. And it's on the ground. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, and you could play around with the numbers. Maybe you want it to come faster, so you change it, or maybe that's too high. You just change some of the number values and have fun with that. Okay, so go ahead and have fun creating an enemy and moving it across the screen. Have fun.